Oh yeah. Hey, only a few percentage of amateur golfers are ever gonna know what it feels like and experience hitting it way out there for distance and accuracy. And the reason is because the way pros generate speed and power is quite different than the way amateurs try to create speed and power. So if you want to get into that elite percentage of amateur golfers that can really nail it out there, then watch all the way to the end of this video. I'm going to show you how. Okay, to better illustrate how pros get so much more speed than amateurs do, you got to remember these two phrases. Pros get effortless power, amateurs get powerless effort. So effort does not necessarily mean clubhead speed. In fact, for some of you out there, the harder you try to swing, the slower you go. Meanwhile, that guy on TV looks like he's swinging so smoothly, or even the LPGA. You can see an LPGA, she's got just the slowest looking swing that hits the ball 280 yards. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay, let's look from the 30,000 foot perspective on how an amateur tries to make power. This would be your typical 10, 20 handicap golfer. They want to go for something more. They want to put a little extra into it. Chances are that they're going to rush the transition, and then they're going to pull. They're going to pull the handle down to the ball or at the target, which of course is going to impede the swinging progress, not allow the club head to accelerate. Meanwhile, the guys on TV, if they want to go harder at it and they want to hit a par 5 in 2, they're focusing more on knees and feet and loading the ground. Amateurs are thinking about pulling the club tensely down into the ground. Pro is looking at the ground more. So I got the chair behind me so you can kind of see what I'm going to show you with Rory McIlroy here in this swing. I'm using this video that's got great view of the poles behind him, the chain link fence and the poles behind him. You can really see the amount of lateral shift that happens early in the downswing. So from a tall position, in other words, he's going to load up on a straight back leg. Not worried about staying over necessarily, but it's okay to come up like Bryson kind of stands up a little bit like this, just like a baseball pitcher would do at the top of the windup. He's trying to get tall onto his back leg so he can spring off it down the mound. The same thing is true with hitting a power drive. Straighten this knee and bring the left knee to the center line, just like this. This helps me get my center of mass up and moves me laterally away from that front line like this. You see that big gap at the top of the swing with Rory. He's loaded onto his right foot, and now he's going to cover this whole distance. Watch this. Step down hard with the left foot into the ground like the Jack Nicklaus stomp. Remember the Nicklaus stomp? Now this puts you in kind of that shortstop position. At this moment, if this wasn't a swing but a photograph, you would see both knees bent and kind of in a squat position. But all I've done here is dropped, gotten heavy, gone from tall to heavy as I step down on the left foot. My knees are just in the process of switching places. So now as I finish up the lateral shift, that left knee straightens rapidly while the right knee crosses through the center line just like this. And now I'm ready for the big hit. This is going to accelerate your hands so they can whip. Accelerates the rotation of your torso so your arms go faster and you can whip as a multiplier of that velocity that you've created. Now additionally, the amateur golfer who's trying really hard to get power but not getting any and maybe just making your slice worse contact, more off balance, etc. We've already discussed how the pros use the ground if they want to really go for a big one. That's where they're concentrating on, is stepping down and pivoting faster and more powerfully. But this is the multiplication factor here that the amateurs often get messed up too, and that's in the release of the club head. So I have a stick here. Don't worry, I'm going to switch directions, camera angles in a second so you can kind of read this radar that's going on. But with this stick and just my left arm alone, I'm usually able to swing this with one arm and no weight shift much faster than most of my students can do it with 2 hands and a full turn in a weight shift. Not because I'm stronger, I've taken away all the muscle mass using just 1 arm. But while they're pulling, tensing up and pulling this way, 52 miles an hour, I can use half the energy and go 104. I just went exactly twice the speed with half the effort. So instead of pulling the handle through and squeezing, I'm staying extremely supple, and it's like a bullwhip action, like this. I get this elbow to tuck in and stay in front of my ribs, and I try to slow this end of the stick down, or even make it try to go backwards if I could. There's 127 right there. 133. 129. Let's see if we can go for 140 here. 137. Not too bad. Not going to break my record today. So when you can combine these 2 skills, using the ground and as your first thought, stepping down from a tall position, driving laterally, and then getting tall on the left leg again, and you can combine that with this whipping action and not squeezing and pulling, but do those in sequence, and you're going to see a massive pickup in distance. You're eligible for so much more speed than you ever thought you were. All right, we covered a lot of ground here today. If you have any questions about these techniques that I've just shown, please leave it down in the comments Please leave it down in the comments below. If you want a swing analysis or live one-on-one lessons, email me at steve@hititlonger.com. If I don't see you in the next video, I hope I see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Hit like, turn on the bell notification, subscribes, and I'll see you in the next video.